Sunday, January 28th, 2024. Welcome to the Pegasus World Cup Day recap show. I'm your host, Al. Happy Sunday, everybody. Yesterday, all eyes were on Gulfstream Park. Pegasus World Cup Day and 13 race card, just terrific, packed with stakes, with the highlight being the 13th race, the final race on the card, the Pegasus World Cup Stakes, a $3 million purse race for 4-year-olds and up, mile and an eighth, and what a dandy it turned out to be. And allow me to preface by saying on Friday, I did a handicapping show with Sopranos actor Robert Fernaro, a very strong, skilled handicapper who has joined me on some shows before, giving out selections, and we had a bunch of winning days doing those shows together. So I'm going to give you a recap of the 6 stakes races that were part of the Rainbow Six yesterday at Gulfstream Park. And we covered all those races, big races, turf races, and of course the Pegasus World Cup Stakes. And I'm going to give you a recap of what took place in those races and how we did on the Pegasus World Cup Day show, which aired on Friday for the first time. So we're going to start with the 8th race and work our way through. I'll let you know how we came up with the picks we came up with and the results and why. And we'll give it to you in a nutshell here, folks. Not going to beat it to death. Get right to the results. Now, in race 8, we'll start with race 8. That was the first race we covered. And that was a stakes race. And that took place over a mile and a half. And we landed on number 7, Verstappen, ridden by Lanfranco Dettori. Brendan Walsh. It was opened at 9-2. Now, it wasn't the favorite, but all eyes pointed to this one as being the best horse in the field by the numbers, by the conditions, by the pace. And the chalk wound up winning number 1, Francesco Clemente, a Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz, a chalk that opened at 2-1 and won at just about 2-1, paid $640 to win. And some say, oh, well, the chalk won that race. You missed that race. It's not as simple as that. The number 1, Francisco Clemente, was not the fastest horse in the field and wasn't even the second or third fastest when you look at all the conditions, the numbers, the pace scenario. But the pace scenario did not take place. What happened in race 8 was this. There were a couple of rabbits out there. They ran a breakneck pace, considering it was a mile and a half race on turf, right? So I'll just give you an idea with some of the fractions. I got some notes here. The opening of first call of 23.8, second call 47.9. They're going quick. And now Lanfranco Dettori is on the 7, the Brendan Walsh, the one we went with, our top pick. Verstappen with Frankie Dettori, he's running up there with the rabbits. And get this, they finished the 6 furlongs. They passed the 6 furlong mark at 112.1. They're basically running sprint figures here in a mile and a half race. And Frankie, one of the best jockeys, tremendous resume. Okay, he's getting up there now, but still, you think he knew better than this. He's running a breakneck pace in a mile and a half with a horse that could easily rate and save plenty in the tank to get it done, and get it done fairly easily in this race by all the factors, and especially the numbers this one has put up. And stakes winner, great. Frankie runs out there like crazy with the rabbits, and he was there till the end. And then all of a sudden he got swallowed up by the rest, including by the winner, Francesco Clemente, and number 7, Verstappen, finishes 5th in that race. Really blew a wide open opportunity. Now, does Frankie owe us an apology? Those are the people who backed him. Now, this wasn't a chalk. It opened 9-2, but he did get bet down to 3-1. Does he owe us an apology for that ride? Come on, Frankie. If you're watching this, you should have known better. Does he owe us an apology? The better. I looked. I'm up early. It's just after 6 so in the morning, and I've looked this over. I researched this, and I tried to see if I can get a quote from Frankie about what happened in this race, why he chose to run basically a sprint for the first 6 furlongs and run out of gas just at the end at a mile and a half? Nothing from Frankie. Crickets. Does he owe us an apology? I guess not, but at the very least, he owes an explanation to the trainer, Brendan Walsh, and to the owners, Andrew Farm for the People Racing Stable LLC and Deborah O'Connor. He owes an explanation, if not an outright apology, to the owners and trainer Brendan Walsh of number 7 Verstappen. So no great shakes there. Okay, so we missed on the 3-1. Things happen sometimes in horse racing. So we'll give Frankie I don't even know if we should give him a pass on this. But either way, the favorite won, and an absolute bomb came in second. One of the AEs, number 13, a 41-1 shot starting over. So the exacta, I don't know who connected on this exacta, 247.60. But those who did go with the chalk got it done there at about 2-1, paying 640. No great shakes, but the 7, that was our selection there. So I'm giving you a recap and how we did on the show. We like to come back, and I'll put a link to that show down below, and that you'll see what I'm talking about, how we broke it down, because we discussed it. When we did the show, we had already looked at the card, looked at the races we were covering. We covered all the races in the Rainbow Six for you Rainbow Six players out there. And we looked at it deeper and landed on the horses we like best and gave it to you after each race during the sequence right through to the Pegasus World Cup Stakes. And in race number 9, we came down to a couple of horses, number 3, and it looked like a chalky affair. Number 3, Intrepid Daydream, opening at 5-2. Trained by Safi Joseph Jr., the high percentage trainer at Gulfstream Park, and Tyler Gaffalione, one of the top jockeys in the United States. And this one had a lot of speed, had the numbers, had the victories. Very solid one in there. Opened 5-2. And the other one, this one had early speed, right? And the other one we liked was a closer who, under the conditions, had 9 career races, 7 firsts, and 2 seconds. Everything fit. He had a lot of speed up front, and this one was a closer who had not finished worse than second, Mary Quite Contrary. That one opened as the first choice, 2-1, and wound up being the favorite in the race. So what happened in this race? The race, Intrepid Dream, the number 3, the Safi horse, did not show the speed. It was a 7 furlong race. The Don Julio Tequila 7 furlong 200K race. Does not show the speed. Running third, not even that close, some lengths off the lead. And Olivia Darling, number 10, opened it up. So this one's running third for a while. So I'm like, oh, geez. They let the front runners squirt free. The pace stool is really not developing as expected. And I don't know what that Tyler Gaffalione, maybe he just didn't have it that day, Intrepid Daydream, but was not up close as expected. And, within, lengths, not far, but not challenging. And 10 did go on to run off and get the victory at a nice price at 7-1 for $16, paying $16. And the 1, Bluefield, comes in second, place 740, 81.60 exact. And what about Mary Quite Contrary, the one that has finished 7 firsts and 2 seconds and 9 tries? Just really strong at this track, was a valid favorite. Since the pace didn't set up that way, the 9 found itself with too much to do. Mary Quite Contrary finishing third as the chalk and paid $240. So there's not much we could do with it. In sprints, sometimes it could get tricky. If the pace doesn't happen, it sets up quickly in an unexpected fashion, you can get surprises in turf races. And that's what happened yesterday. Hats off to the winner. And I'm just questioning the race that Intrepid Daydream, Tyler Gaffalione. I wonder what happened there. And the two that we landed on, 3 and 9, they finished 3rd and 4th. Now we go on to race 10. Now in race 10, we landed on, we don't always land on the same horses. Sometimes we spread, but at the consensus, by the time we got looking over all the factors, we were on the one that got it done here. And we landed on the number 9 Didia with Jose Ortiz aboard, opening at 6-1. It was 3 for 3 at the distance. It had the numbers. It had the pace set up. We were looking at the 4-horse Star Fortress, who came out of a huge race for Luis Saez, for Cherie DeVoe. And, you know, a repeat of the last race, at least by the numbers, it should have smoked this group. But we came up with, especially Robert Fernaro did, that the 4, the starting position of the race, turning back. This race was at 1 mile and 16, Star Fortress. The closer was turning back. And from the starting position of the race and at a slightly shorter distance, this closer was going to be in trouble. So we, you know, got rid of the 4 there, even though it opened as the chalk at 5-2. And we landed on at the number 9 as our top pick, despite being 6-1. So we're not out there. When we're handicapping these races on these handicapping shows, we're all business, looking it over. We're not a couple guys that talk for X amount of minutes about a race and beat it to death and land on the chalk. You know, you see that, right? No, not us. You know, when we were looking this over, we came up with the 6-1 shot as our top choice, and the 7 as our second choice. The other Ortiz brother and Chad Brown, number 7, Fluffy Socks, opening at 9-2. But we landed on Didia, the number 9, and you know what? It did win, and it got it done just perfect as planned. Paid $860 for the win there. So through the first 3 races, it wound up at just a shade over 3-1. So we didn't get the 6-1, but we did get 3-1. $860, nice price. So if you're going by our winners here, who we like best, we're through the first 3 ahead in the money there. So if you're playing along with us, if you, just to give an example, if you bet $2 3 times, that's $6 and $860. So you get back, you're ahead $260 for your $2. If you're betting $20, you're up $20.60. Whatever, you get the idea. Power of multiplying when you're playing the races, $3, whatever. So we get our 6-1 shot home at 3-1. Beautiful. Now we go on to number 11. Gets a little tricky. We both agreed. I spread a little bit. I liked 1 or 8. 1 was the Bob Baffert, very expensive horse in this Whispering Angel Stakes. And the stakes there was $150K. And he was the only thing I didn't like too much about the Baffert entry with Flavian Pratt up, opened at 8-5. I was thinking to myself, you know what? It's really not tested at this mile. We know it can sprint and know it has the numbers. Is the mile going to be a question mark? So Robert, he was pretty much dead red on the 1. I like the 8 as a chance that looked fast enough to maybe get it fast enough to get it done. If there was a bit of a pace scenario where the pace broke down a little bit, and it wound up breaking down, and I had number 8, Accretive, at Chad Brown, Irod Ortiz, out of Practical Joke, open 5-1. So I put together a little pick 3 there, a small pick 3, and that didn't hit. I got knocked down in the first race. Baffert, the pace, he got challenged early. Number 1, and he didn't hold up. He was in mid-stretch, leading by open lengths, and got swallowed up. He got run down, ran out of gas, and actually finished 4th. Yes, 4th, despite leading well into the stretch. And it even looked like he was going to open up for a second, and all of a sudden, it's like the horse, you know, got his legs jellied up and got not only run down, but finished 4th. And as for the number 8, the Chad Brown entry, didn't do any. You lost sight of him, I think, midway through the race. I don't know if something was wrong. So neither 1 or 8 came in, and Bombs came in. Number 11 wins the race. Tumbaruma at pays $18.80, and number 7 comes in second, who went off at high odds, paid $17.80 to place, $382 exacta. nothing we could do about that race. I couldn't have expected this finish. I actually figured the 7 was actually my 4th choice in this race, and the 11 was my 5th. I wasn't going to spread that way in this race, especially the millions that the number 1 Baffert entry had Jazzy cost, and its speed and the rail, and the 8 looks solid. How deep do you want to spread? So 7-11, yay. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. No one got hurt. So, and that was a $382 exacta. Now we go on to race number 12. And number 12, we both landed on the eventual winner, number 9, Warm Heart. Out of Ireland. Now get this. Warm Heart was a filly going up against the guys. And opened at 9-5, and the second choice was Shug McGahee's number 3, Integration, right? But we got to looking this over, and Robert mentioned that number 9, he mentioned different factors about that. This was his horse of the day. It was his horse of the day. It just so happened to be opening 9-5, but this was his pick of the day. And this time it was a chalk, but you couldn't move past it. It looked like the most solid entry from here. And get this, it didn't even wind up being the chalk. Number 9, Warm Heart out of Ireland, wound up at 2-1, a little over 2-1. And number 3, Integration, the Shug McGahee, wound up being bet down from 3-1 down to 6-5. Down to 6-5. I guess the people saw it was undefeated. Whatever. They love Shug. Shug always takes money in big races. Anyway, this things lined up well here. And Robert pointed out how Warm Heart had, done very well in different markets, different areas. This one's a world traveler, basically. Ran in Tokyo, ran in Australia. Had the races, and it had the speed that it could be up there and near the front, and then take over with a burst. And it was turning back. It was turning back in distance. This was 1 1/8, and this one was going to benefit by the turn from the turn back, because this one's had a lot in the tank going longer. And you had the top jockey, probably the best turf jockey in the entire world, and Ryan Moore. And of course, the turf trainer, one of the best out there as well, Aidan O'Brien, from, the Irish connections there. That's their game. It's not America's game, turf. And so you have these guys, 2 of the biggest long ball hitters, a jockey trainer, plus this super filly making her first start as a 4-year-old. And Robert broke this down like a champion. He's like all over this, single. And, even in the double single. I was looking a little bit around in the double. I tried a little something. I added the 3 and the 6 there in the double with a few in the 9th race, right? I was looking for some prices. Kingman had the great King Max number 6 had the great lineage out of Kingman, of course, great turf sire. And I looked at some others. Web Slinger a bit, and even the Shug horse, right? So we did a small double there. So so that's my play. But Robert was all over the 9, and Warm Heart wins at Warm Heart. Gee, it's almost getting choked up thinking about Warm Heart. This is a heartwarming story. This one, it's a special horse, and who knows when we're going to see this one again. Maybe in the Breeders' Cup. I don't know if there's a really big turf race that they bring this one back to the States sooner than the Breeders' Cup in the turf, big turf race. But yeah, this one's going back. It's being shipped back. They brought it to America here, and gets it done. It's like the the overseas greats, Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien, and Warm Heart, the filly. Come into the States, take the money, and they fly back, including bringing Warm Heart along with her. What a heartwarming story, Warm Heart. Anyway, and we broke it down. If you watch this, if you watch the show, again, the link is down below. You got to see when we sit there and we're talking about horses here and breaking it down, you're seeing the angles, how we actually come up with the horses. We're not just out there giving out picks. We're not getting out there and saying an hour before hey, Bobby, you want to do a show? Or Alan, do you want to do a show? And yeah, let's go out there. And we go out there and then we start looking at the horses, telling some jokes, laughing around. And no, on our shows, when we do the shows, it's like two horse racing scientists are sitting down, blinkers on, discussing angles, looking at replays, looking at the data, looking at past races, the connections, the conditions. I mean, and we talk about it when we do these shows before big races. And we give you, when we do these shows, we usually do them a day in advance, so you have a time to look them over and listen. Even, I'm not asking, we wouldn't ask, never ask you to talk you off your horses, whatever. But if you're interested in learning about handicapping, what some winning players look for, knowledgeable players look for when they're deciding, landing on different horses. And we looked these over. We had looked over these races in advance, so we weren't seeing them for the first time, but we were taking it a step further. It's a great show for that, and we've had winning shows in the past, a lot of them. Matter of fact, I'm hard-pressed to think of when we did a losing show, and we've done somewhere between 6 and 10 shows now together, breaking down races for big events. So, yeah, we landed on Warm Heart, got it done there. And now we'll go on to the Pegasus World Cup, race number 13. Now, we were on a couple. We both like a National Treasure. You had to use it. I had National Treasure in my double. But we also had a couple of live long shots that we came up with, and we were wedded to those. And we thought both of them had just as much, maybe even a better chance to win the race than National Treasure. So we were up with 3 of them. We both landed on 3. And I liked one a little bit underneath, maybe for an exactor or something. I wound up not using it. And I stuck with the 3 as well. We landed on 4 Hoist the Gold, a 12-to-1 shot. 12-to-1 shot. That's who we came up with, all right? We didn't come up with National Treasure, First Mission by Brad Cox and the other one, O'Connor. Talk for an hour or whatever, 25 minutes about a race, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, and land on the chalk and give something that everybody else is playing. So we landed on 4, Hoist the Gold at 12-to-1. Now, this one had big early speed, and if you look at the speed figures of this horse and its pace scenario, this horse had actually run in most recent, going back to last year. This is the second, as far as routes go, the fastest horse out there, with the exception of Vita Barrio, and not by much of a difference as far as pure speed goes. Hoist the Gold that quick in its last race. Okay, it was at a mile. It was not at a mile and an eighth or whatever, but it was so fast and has such good early pace. Who knows? Maybe he runs National Treasure off his feet and gets it done at a price. The other we landed on was number 6, Senor Buscador, a 20-to-1 shot. Now, these are ones that we like to win along with National Treasure, okay? And National Treasure, the Baffert entry with Flavian Pratt, opening as the chalk at 9-to-5, early speed as well. Not quite the early speed of Hoist the Gold, mind you, and that's one of the reasons we loved Hoist the Gold. The speed figures, the overall numbers, pace scenario, but National Treasure, right? So we land on those 3. As expected, number 4 shows that speed, and now he's running and he's out front fairly comfortably ahead of National Treasure, who we figured, this one likes to go to the front if it can. And it tried to do when it almost stole the Met Mile, losing by a nose to Cody's Wish, the eventual winner by a nose, right? So anyway, National Treasure is going. He's running second to Hoist the Gold. So, and this fairly deep into the race, heading into the turn, and they're getting ready to turn for home, right? So now And Senor Buscador, the big closer, we liked a big time closer, had run in 4 G1s out of the and 2 G2s out of the last 6. We knew it had the class. We knew it had the numbers. We knew it had the races. And we knew it had the conditions with the tremendous closing kick. And we knew there were going to be others out front, especially for Hoist a Goal and National Treasure. And they're out there running 1-2. And Senor Buscador starts making up ground. So Senor Buscador. So we're using a 12-1 opener and a 20-1 opener, and they get bet down, right? They didn't get bet down to nothing. Hoist a Goal got bet down to 9-1 from 12-1, and Senor Buscador, the 6, gets bet down to 8-1. So now it's looking like we're going to hit the double. Both of us are in line to hit the double with the 9, and we both have 4, 6, 7, and some win bets. I bet all 3 of them to win there, and I had all 4, 6, and I had 7 National Treasure boxed in the exact. I talked about this on the show. That is, I box 6 and 7, 4 and 7, and 6 and 7. I wasn't going to try and push it with 2 of the longer ones, 1, 2, and this could have actually hurt me. I should have just boxed all 3 and looked for the 4 and the 7 to come in together, but I thought 7 was the one that was going to get it done. So I boxed National Treasure with his big early speed and the connections, and I couldn't, and when push came to shove, I really couldn't see him. If not winning, I couldn't see him finishing worse than second. So Bobby did have the win bet on all 3 of them, and he did have the exacta boxes with all 3 of them. And it came down to this. National Treasure, I'll tell you what, number 4, Hoist a Goal, did start to lose his, start to tire coming off the turn, and he started, and 6, Senor Buscador was pulling almost even with Hoist the Goal, making that big closing kick, and National Treasure comes off the turn, leading, heading for home. Excellent. Dunkin' Donuts original blend. Coffee of Go-Getters. We're out here early in the morning Sunday recording the recap show, Pegasus Cup recap show. Want to get this out here early for you in the morning so you can see the recap and why. Maybe you're scratching your head. What happened? How did this race end this way? Well, I'm giving you all that stuff here this morning so you can enjoy it over breakfast and talk about it with your friends. And we're not okay. So we try and bring you the goods here on old horse racing all the time. So Hoist a Goal starts to tire, and the other one, Senor Buscador, is starting to come up. And now, get this, in tiring, Hoist a Goal starts to drift outwards. Now. And Senor Buscador would have had a shot to the inside. He wouldn't have to move much. It could have went inside, and he had a hole that he could get to the rail, right? And continue without really breaking stride, and he wouldn't have to move much and just keep motoring forward now on the inside. But instead, the 4 comes out a little bit and closes the hole that Senor Buscador can't shoot towards the inside, right? So he had to, stay on the outside running. So he's still making up ground. National Treasure is hanging on. He still has something left, but Senor Buscador, the 6 is closing. And that finish line came up, and Senor Buscador finished second to National Treasure by, what was it, about a head and a half or something, really close. Not photo close, but he really got there. I mean, if the race was another 20 feet long, he would have won. But the finishing order was National Treasure, who I gained a lot of respect for. Here, I think we found his distance. 1 mile and an eighth seems about perfect for this guy, and because he didn't get the lead this time, and he still had enough to hang on. I'd like to see the final figures on this race. So finishing order was 7 and 6. So Robert and I, we did deliver the winner there. And also we talked about exactas, delivered the exactas, also delivered the double there. And some of the payouts there, National Treasure, get this, paid $720 to win, $720 to win. And one thing we both agreed upon was number 8, who did take a lot of money, First Mission, the Brad Cox entry with Luis Saez. This horse was, all right, nice horse. It might be good down the road, but we both agreed, wow, this one looks too slow. This one is a pretender, has no shot in this race, and it didn't even finish in the top 5. By the numbers, it was too slow. By the pace, it didn't fit. People, I believe, just bet the board or bet the names, Brad Cox and Luis Saez. And that turned out to be a play that was like burning your money. But Robert and I, we did give out the exacta, a 34 to 1 exacta that paid $70 for $2, or you bet it for $1, you got back 35. So we both had the exacta, we both had the winner, we both had the double. If you played our picks on the show, you had a nice winning day. Not a gigantic winning day, but a very solid winning day with 3 winners out of the 6 races, including the double there, and also the exacta in the 12th race. And in horse racing, it's a good day when you come out on top. And some days are going to be better than others. Again, I have the video down below if you want to watch that. Yeah, our handicapping shows, so you can see how we came up with these horses and why. We're not just saying, oh, this horse has this is a special horse, number 9. Yeah. So number 9 in this race. No. Or the stars are aligned for this. Or no, we give you the actual reasons why we're picking a horse in depth. That's what the point of the show is. We want to bring you something, a quality experience, maybe even a learning experience of how to address the races and how 2 winning players come up with it. So that's the recap show. I want to thank everybody for watching this, and I hope you had a great day at the Pegasus World Cup, playing the races, a good time. As always, you know this already. You bet with your head, not over it. And that's how it goes, man, or woman, whoever's watching this. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great Sunday. And remember, may the horse always be with you.